You and I were the only ones that made it to shore. Alive, anyway. This place is crawling with criminals. Find something you can defend yourself with. That'll do for now. I thought I saw some smoke rising just north of here. Could be worth checking if there's... Breaking rocks to mine voltaxic sulfite. But I'm so small. Such pain. Such despair. I'm going to die down here. And I never even had the chance to know what life was. I awake to the sound of screaming. My eyes and throat sting. Smoke billows into the hut from the outside. Something is terribly wrong. I dash outside and I'm confronted by a wall of heat. Smoke makes it difficult to see, but the village is in flames. I flee from the smoke and to my horror realize we're trapped. A rival tribe stands at the only exit, cutting my brothers and sisters down as they flee. We've been ambushed. I run towards the flames and leap, praying to Velako for protection. I see you. You are seeking answers because you can find them only in the stories we will leave behind when Malachi and Vol cause our destruction. In this final hour, I entertain the notion that the words I write exist in some form beyond me. Do they go on as dreams? As memories? I have the wildest notion that perhaps you will find a way to pick up scraps of memory, and you, whoever you are, will come across this one someday. If you do, I ask only this: slay Malachi. Slay him for yourself, or slay him for all the lost citizens of the Empire. But, most of all, slay him for Marilyn. I take no pleasure in this. It simply must be done. Humanity's purpose has been fulfilled in me. Within this sanctum of flesh lay the tools I shall use to reshape the world. With this act, I sweep away the trappings of mortality and bring about a new age, a world of thaumaturgy, and I, its ruler. Farewell, my gemling queen. It's him. He sails back to me, my Deresso. I shall sing for him. I shall show him the way. Come, my love, come to me. We shall be together at last. No, turn away. Don't listen to my singing. You'll die upon the rocks. Turn away. Turn away. Turn away. The courts are burning. Accusations fly. Sinner, heretic. I am but an initiate, and my patron urges silence. We will keep our heads down while one High Templar supplants another. It's all about power, my patron whispers, and we have none. Should an accusation fall our way, we shall be doomed to die with the other accused, be unseen and unheard, he whispers. This is what happens when men who seek power refuse to wait. I learned a valuable lesson that day. Trust without leverage is vulnerability. Master's orders were clear. I am to wait here until his return. I cast my eyes to the horizon and see smoke billowing from San. The city burns, and I fear my master burns with it. The sky grows red. I hear screaming from the village by the crossroads, but I will not abandon my post. Master will return, and I will await him. No matter how long, I will wait for Malagaro's return. Another child was taken last night, so tonight we wait, praying the demon does not return. But it does. It soars through the air and passes through the wall of the hut. We catch only a glimpse of its grey skin beneath the moonlight. We pursue the demon on foot to the edge of the woods. The child it carries does not cry out. Anaris follows closely, but I hesitate, out of fear. I gather my will and I leap into the shadows, tracking the demon by the tendrils left in its wake. But I'm too late. The demon and child are gone, and Anaris stands frozen, pale as the moon. He whispers something I do not understand and falls dead. I fear we will be hunted to extinction. A man in uniform visits. He's from the courts. He says the Templar have alms for widows like my mother, but she must collect it in person. We go to the church together, and I wait outside in the gardens. The sun is setting. I don't know how long I've been sitting here. Mother comes from around the rear. She looks pale, Her eyes are red and her clothes are torn. She doesn't look at me, but she grabs my hand. We walk home in silence. I lay awake in bed. I hear her crying. The man comes over often after that, with toys and food, but I don't like him. Help! Please, somebody help me! I've fallen down here! I think I've hurt my leg! Hello! Stay calm. I'm sure someone will come soon. I'm so hungry. If I get desperate, maybe I can eat some of the mushrooms down here. I feel strange. My head feels like it's filled with bubbles. Are the walls breathing? The colours here are so vibrant. Oh, my stomach! I'm ill. Oh, the world is spinning and oh, my gut! What did I eat? I feel... Sir Pinty went on her first fishing trip alone and did not return. When her body finally washed ashore, it looked as though it had been mummified for 1,000 years. The fish did not touch her flesh. She was perfectly preserved but drained of her blood. We buried her, but within days the earth rejected her. Whatever killed her took root in that place. The earth soured, and we had to move, abandoning her body. Ha! Lion Eye's failure against Kaum comes as no surprise. He was always more arrogant than skilled. It is time a real man showed the Karui the might of the Eternal Empire. Chevron assures me that my process will be relatively painless, and that my duties as warden can continue unhindered. But as my flesh swells and ruptures, I realize I am just another test subject. At least I can fulfill my duties to the Empire before my mind. People stream down the streets towards Oriath Square. I hear their shouts and cheers, and when my mother isn't looking, sneak out to join the merry crowd. Just outside the pens, a Karui boy, no older than I, stands atop the gallows. I see by the sign around his neck he has been caught stealing. I swear I will not look away, but fear overtakes me. I hear the rope snap taut, and the crowd cheer. But I fight back the tears. Out of sight, out of mind. No one speaks of the cursed land anymore. That has made it quite simple to send our smugglers out in search of powerful eternal artifacts. We knew of the gems, but we did not know of what Malachi called his muse. The smugglers have returned with rubbings of the device they found. They call it miraculous. I know a thing or two about miracles, so I will be the judge of that. The stench convenes around me thicker than the press of the vagabonds themselves. Though starving, their strength while holding on to one another is surprising. I am trapped in a knot of ragged bodies, and the men of the church clap me in irons despite my cries. I am not one of them, can't you hear me? I'm not Maraketh, nor homeless, and I have committed no sins. That ship is not for me. Why won't you listen? The shackles cut into my wrists and ankles. The guards are deaf to my pleading, but I am no murderer. If I am guilty of anything, it is falling in love with the wrong person. Justice served, they claim. This is not justice. Any chance of justice evaporated the moment I walked into the courtroom and saw her husband held the gavel. I'm just the scapegoat. It's easy to get away with murder when you're the judge. I strike the earth once more as I have countless times, but my strike feels unfamiliar. Instead of the crack of stone, I am met with flexing sinew. I examine my pickaxe. A dark red liquid froths on its tip. The metal beneath rapidly corrodes. Have I found it at last? I run to alert the general. I'm told not to speak of what I found. The other slaves must continue to dig, but I am set free. Indexing Artifact 112 in Lot 10, an ancient jawbone. Carvings on the side attribute it to Valaco? This can't actually be the jawbone from the myth. And this? Tukahama's tooth? Hinakora's hair? These were in the archives for centuries. Are these what those thieves were after? Who would want these relics except for followers of Kitava? But that's absurd. Best not to mention the robbery attempt. I used to pride myself on taking care of these tomes, but the ancient treatises concerning the Val should be burned. He's making me research for him, and the things I'm reading about concern the destruction of all mankind. I would think my fears of the end of the world ridiculous, except it's happened before. I must run. I must flee and take my secrets with me. Sometimes we in the Brotherhood don't need to harm anyone at all. We surround Drusus in the baths. He has a family, and that means he's vulnerable. He doesn't even protest. He knows what this is. Wordlessly, he backs into the baths and sinks to the bottom. All that remains are the bubbles of his last breath. These shiny baubles we pull out of the rock are worth more than their weight in gold. Yet we hardly get paid at all. We should stop work and demand our fair share. Don't worry, they're just sealing the entrance as a way to intimidate us. They wouldn't dare leave 1,000 men down here just to die. The defendant is accused of unlawful avarice, pecuniary sloth, 2 counts of resisting Templar authority, civil envy, and 1 count of pandering. You have been found guilty by the power of the court, and will hereby be exiled to Rayclast as penance for your sins. He wasn't a pious man, and certainly he had a gambling problem, but he didn't deserve to end up like this. I feel like somebody should say something as we cover his tomb, but nobody does. The others begin to file away while I linger by the tomb a moment. A muffled banging sounds from within, and I consider rushing to get help, but then I remember and leave without another word. For all, lend us your eyes, that we may see past the darkness in our hearts. Venomous, lend us your web, that we may bind our tribes together. Creation, lend us your shell, that we may hold out against our oppressors. Sakawal, lend us your feathers, that we may be carried to a better future. We call out in your name. I come here on sunny days to get away from the squalor of the streets and alleyways around my home. It's not the cut purses that bother me, it's the city guard. Even so, a legionnaire approaches me and asks me my intent in the fields. I do not answer him, instead shaking my head and holding a finger over my lips. Better to act mute than risk being clapped in irons for the sin of being born Ezomite. Rami waits at the cavern entrance for the passing aspirants. One at a time he pulls them in from the snowstorm and covers their mouth as I slice their throats. Blood stains the cavern floor. Rami pulls in the last straggler and we make quick work of her. Just we 2 remain. Before Rami makes this realization, I plunge my blade into his eye. I alone will lead the mute wind. As I kneel over her grave, the night sky joins my tears. The earth becomes scattershot, stained by sputtering torchlight. She reaches out to me, and I smile until I see other lost loved ones reaching up through the dirt. The rain smells like leather grease, and my torch goes out as the first of the dead breaks free. I know I have no voice as a servant, but there is something deeply troubling here. This manor holds a dreadful presence which permeates the very air. When they find the 3rd dead and disemboweled maid, I speak up, but the master of the household doesn't listen. He refuses to even look at me. It is then that I realize I am already dead. 19 more days in the mountains. I'll never survive, never earn my Mutewind name. I'm already starving and dying after 10. And is that a wolf? Kindest friend, kindred wolf. You kept me warm for 19 days. I will return one day, when I'm old, and let your descendants feast upon my remains. I move through the stacks, seeking that one perfect moment from my youth. I once read a book here, its name lost to me, that perfectly struck the chords of my heart. It was as if that book was written for me, and yet I cannot find it now. There are more tomes here than I could ever pick up and check in an entire lifetime. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Every day we cart in the poor folk the General has rounded up for the witches' experiments. I used to count, but I stopped at 2,000. This is not the career the blackguards promised me. We're worse than monsters. Look at this place. Rivers of blood, piles of corpses. We were just following orders. We're trapped down here. Though we strike it again and again, the Sekhmet seal remains unharmed. No one down here can sleep. My throat is parched, yet I feel no thirst. The foreman is beginning to show signs of madness. He claims the wall's earth and even his pick have become sticky as honey. I pray death comes for us soon, but I fear we will receive something far worse. Lunaris, help me find calm. Help me find peace. Help me silence those who trouble me. Lunaris, help me destroy my enemies. Help me take what is rightfully mine. I cannot escape the feeling that I'm being cooked by the sun in a cauldron made of sand. As I dream of water, walking, dying, I see it, an oasis. I slake my thirst with chill liquid that sparkles in the sun. I dunk my head, then lie down, exhausted and exhilarated. Today, I get to live. The last 3 weeks feel like they've passed in an instant. The atmosphere here since the High Templar's disappearance has been so relaxed. But while enjoying the sun on my roof this morning, I saw the black smoke billowing from the Chamber of Innocence turn red. The Seneschals have at last elected a new High Templar. Rumour has it they've sought young blood, someone who can revitalize the Templar, someone who can bring them into the modern age. Whoever it is, he can't be worse than the last one. Bastards set us back 50 years. What is it? You know I am not to be disturbed during my communion with God. It's here? Well, get it to the lab immediately and do not disturb me again, lest I take your head. I feel a rush of excitement as I review the contents of the crate. The pieces, aged as they are, still hum with energy. I can feel its potential, and it fills me with hope and terror. I cannot assemble it, but I know who can. I need only apply a little pressure. I am so very late. This is deeply embarrassing. I fear the wait will be too long now. But this is the one chance I get to meet the great laureate, and I will not let it go to waste. Malachi says he has perfected new techniques that will unlock the raw power hidden within the virtue gems. I have volunteered my body to the cause. I feel no fear, no hunger, no pleasure, nothing. I only hear his voice. I must obey. We walk in absolute silence through the murk. It's after midnight, but the streets above are still abuzz with activity. Hours pass before the streets fall silent. We emerge one by one into a pitch-black room. As I help our last out of the sewers, a flint is struck, and we are surrounded by light and gleaming imperial armor. There's a dagger at my throat, a setup, dragged into a cell, the guards laughing. I still reek of the sewers. Tonight is a celebration. On this, the night of 1,000 ribbons, we honor Emperor Chittus for his heroic defense of our beloved capital. Long may he reign. I feel fear and hatred. The Emperor stands before me, and I know this is my chance. I strike at him. I pierce his belly, but it is not immediately lethal. I lock eyes with the man. I watch him raise his axe. I'm a fool to have gotten lost here, but it was getting dark, and I thought I saw a way home. A crowd stands silently around me, their faces blank white, their bodies covered in webs. The crowd begins to shiver and shake as I creep between their bound hands. Some moan for help, others scream. As their bodies bubble, I realize I cannot help them. Tiny spiders pour out of open wounds. Beneath the summer sun, we follow Tarkus in search of the promised land. Before long, hunger grips our stomachs. The Doomlands take their toll. Our numbers dwindle, and discord spreads amongst the tribesmen. Baruzo's words quell our hearts, but not our stomachs. In the dead of night a woman goes missing, and our hunger is abated. We reach the ruins of Exile alive, but dark deeds hide in our bellies. He told me to meet him out here at midnight. Well, it's midnight and he isn't here, and I can hear wolves nearby. He'd better hurry up or I'm leaving. That's it, I'm out of here. Now, which way did I come from? Was it this way? No. Must have been this way. This doesn't look familiar either. None of this looks familiar, and I think I hear the wolves coming closer. We pack up our camp just before sunrise and journey towards the capital, Exile. We hear the crowd before we see them. Word of our victory spread quickly, and even the Queen has come to meet us. My family has come to watch the ceremony. As I lay on the stone altar, I hear them chanting my name. It's the last thing I hear before the Queen's dagger is plunged into my chest. 6 moons have passed since the earth supped the rain. The riverbed is dry and the lake is but a puddle. The beasts here have become desperate and dangerous. There are rumours that Lord Uriel's blood-fed crops have swelled, but the fruit they bear can send a man mad. We look to our children for the answer. A child cannot hunt, but it can still provide. The taste is hard to forget.
You can't just keep me locked up. I have rights, you know. I deserve a fair trial. Hey! You hear me? Hello? Guard! I smell smoke! Get me out of here! Please! Don't just leave me to die! Someone, please help! Please!
I don't understand. I saw Bryn die. I held him. The fever that took him was so intense. I remember the moment his body went cold. But now he lives once more. Yet it is not truly him. I know that. A mother knows her son, and this creature is not my son. It is a hollow impostor. My son's spirit is with innocence, so I go to him at last. Everyone is dead and I am alone. The Karowi swept through the watch so quickly, we didn't have a chance to flee. Men, women, even children slaughtered. I'm lucky to be alive. But I cannot return home now. No, I'd be branded a coward, imprisoned and hung for desertion. I have no choice. I must make do out in the wilds. Perhaps a farmer will take pity on me. And if not, I have my blade. I will take what I need by force. My legs ache, but at last they can rest. We are 2 days' journey from the nearest city, and the trickle of water sets me at ease. I begin to set up camp. My wife bathes naked in the stream. I appreciate her form from the banks. With any luck, we will never see another person as long as we live. The storm is bad now. The ship rocks to and fro. The other exiles exchange glances as a guard struggles to regain his footing. Then we hit the rocks. When I come to, I'm alone on a tiny island. Little more than a rock, really. I can't see any other land. Even Ray-class would have been better than this. The world is changing in dark and subtle ways around us as I run. My arms burn from the weight of my young children. The sun is turning blood red, and there's only one place of safety I can imagine. The walls of the cave we huddle in tremble. The screaming outside keeps us from fleeing into the open air. Life has gone mad, and the sky is burning. The children cry out for their mother, but I haven't the heart to tell them what she became in front of my eyes.
The boats are the only way out of the city, don't you understand? The sky is burning. We have to go.
Everyone had the same idea. The crowded boats aren't moving at all. The others scream and wail. Everything begins to burn. I hold my son under the water and pray his death is quicker than mine. My grandparents worshipped here, back when it was still a place of faith. I wonder, did the gods ever hear them? I choose to believe the gods did listen, and that I am here now out of that benevolence. It is the only way I can explain surviving the troubles. Where am I? What happened? I remember a massive spider coming at me and then... I'm stuck in webbing. My stomach is really rumbling and it hurts. And it's bulging and rippling. San is the city of opportunity, they said. The cradle of civilization. Pardon me if I don't feel swaddled and taken care of in this cradle. It's starve or steal. I think I know which one I like better. With one motion, I cleave a man in twain. A kick sends another flying, and the roar of the crowd swells. I am their idol. I was always meant to be at the top of the pile. Nobody else can compare, and this tiny man, this new challenger, Daresso, will fall like the rest to the might of Barkul. I thirsted for adventure my entire life, but I suppose at 82, the most I can do now is walk along the village plateau. I dreamt of magic and adventure when I was younger. It's a shame this world isn't more exciting. I wear the armor of a Templar, and I walk among the guards, but I am not one of them. My soul is Kitava's to consume. The time nears. At the appointed hour, I will open the gates, all the gates. Centuries of my predecessors line these walls. It is supposedly the ultimate honor to rest with them, but I have my doubts. How would anyone know which bones are mine? How would anyone know that I am even here? Because I recognize none of these remains myself. I feel very nervous. Am I sweating? I think I'm sweating. I hope she doesn't notice how much I'm sweating. Oh no, she looked at me. She can definitely see how sweaty I am. I should say something. Your face is good? Why would you say that? She laughed at you. Now she's going to tell all the women in San how stupid and useless you are. You're going to die alone. Wait, is she? She's holding your hand. You did it. Your face is good. Classic line. Works every time. This is not good. I can't believe I fell asleep. Now I'm in the middle of the bloody ocean without a bloody paddle. Micah, you stupid shite. Why couldn't you just follow the bloody captain's orders? Now you've gone and got yourself killed. Unless... what is that? Is that a ship on the horizon? It looks like Roth's. Long as he doesn't hold a grudge, I'm saved.